What up? Oh, what's up, man?
What's up, brother?
How you doing?
Doing good.
Good to hear. How's the day been since we spoke earlier?
Not too bad. Been trying to do more follow-ups and talk to more agents and stuff.
How's it been going?
Sent you over a video that Pace did with Maximilian Dier.
Hmm.
He just did, I think, like yesterday or so.
Okay.
Um, Max was saying that he goes out and he pulls a list of agents who do cash deals, who have already done cash deals as far as sold real
Hmm.
estate, because those are more primed to be the unicorn agents that are more willing to and open to working with investors.
Yeah, for sure.
So him and Pace were both going back and forth. They're like, why waste time going through 50 dials, 50 plus dials a day, just trying to hunt down maybe one or two? They're like, go after the agents who are doing cash deals already and
Yeah,
cut down.
there we go. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, like we talked about the other day, it's about quality of conversations, not necessarily just volume of
Yeah,
dot. So that's definitely solid. Let me get this link
I
sent.
got
Say again?
I got Bain set up for Wednesday morning to talk with the gentleman that I was talking to this morning on the PML stuff.
Nice.
Uh, I don't know if Bain had talked to you any further on that or not.
I mean, as long as you got a schedule with Bane, I mean, I'll stay in the loop through that as well. But I love that you're taking action on to get appointments. So we got lots of people that are getting movement. Cam, I know, been still crushing it on the direct to seller side, doing lots of movement there too. So
Yeah,
I'm excited. Love to see the daily dial that happened this morning. That was um, just cool. You know, as a leader, as somebody that's been putting so much time into building something, it's cool to see y'all take initiative and see the same vision of what we're doing here. Um, First off, thank you to you guys that have shown up and done that already. We're gonna really be on the forefront of something that I think is really gonna change the way that this industry is done. Right. I really strive to be like a brokerage for investors or wholesalers and less just like a lead generator, right? So like we are actually just trying to give you all the resources needed to really push it forward. Still finalizing. Actually, today I spoke again with some private money folks that can help with the gap funding on any deals and things like that, and help with some of the entry fees. So like lining up all the resources so that as we get these deals, we can pull them back in and say, hey, this is what we need, this is what we need, pull in other resources, make it happen. Super excited about the creative stuff. Bain is working on a sub two deal for a VA loan out in Alabama. Let me see if he can jump on here. What's up, Roman?
Not too much. How's it going?
How are you, brother?
Doing fantastic. Sounds like you got a lot of good things cooking up for the community.
Dude, it's telling you, it's picking up some steam.
That's awesome.
Let me see if Bain can jump. Are you available for this? Well, so guys, I know we the other day got to go through at 12 p.m. Eastern on Friday. There was several people that were unable to make it at that time frame, first off, and also, being a Monday now, I just kind of want to reiterate some of these things and really get the ball rolling. As you guys can see, those that take action get result. So, Devin, in your first few round of calls after we went live and did the training with Roman the other day, you've since got active on the phones and tell us a little bit about your first few calls.
I've dealt with several of the secretary's office managers types, and I've got to follow back up with them. They took down my name, number, and said, "Yeah, we'll pass it off to our lead manager and stuff." Um, Reached out on the list this morning to a gentleman who is a real estate appraisal. He's got a real estate appraising company. And he was like, "Well, I'm not sure how I can really help you guys." I'm like, "Well, you're in the industry, so
Hmm.
we can still talk and see
What?
where we can turn around and help you out."
You said he does appraisals.
Yeah, he does appraisals.
So here's how this relationship connects off the jump, right? They sellers that want to sell their house get an appraisal before they list it so they know what their value is, which means that person gets a little bit of an early step on knowing somebody wants to sell their house. Huge asset,
And
huge lead gen asset.
that's what I told him. I said, "You got obviously you'll you're working with people who want to turn around and sell real estate and stuff. I said, so you got the opportunity to bring us leads and, things that we can work together on. And then he immediately went into, I got into the creative sub two community and stuff and said, hey, this is what we do. This is what he wasn't familiar with PACE at all.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I'll take a look and see. And he was like, all right, cool. And then he was like, well, I've got these 2 rental properties and they're almost all paid off. I've got like 85,000 and 65,000 left to pay on them. He said combined, they're probably about 450,000 in value. And I've just got all this equity that's sitting there. He's like, is there maybe some way your partners can help me figure out some way to do something with the equity to where I can pull that out and deploy that on properties or,
What do you think about that,
what?
Roman? You process what he just said there. Basically, this seller said, I want to pull my equity out and lend it. Would your guys be able to help with that?
Wow.
Yes, is
Yeah.
the answer. We can help with that.
That is awesome.
He was like, all right, he's like, I know it would be like a second lien position or something. I said, I'm not too familiar with it, but I said, I do have my partners and I can reach out to them. I said, we can go and, explore all the options and go from there. And
Right?
he's like, I've got probably about 250 to 300,000.
Sorry about that. Go ahead and finish.
So he was like, he's like ballpark. I think I've got somewhere about 250 to 300,000 of equity. And when I called him back to set up a time for me and Bain and possibly you, Garrett,
Yeah.
to turn around and jump on a call, he was like, yeah, he's like, he's like, I've just got that equity just sitting there and it's doing nothing. I said, well, let us put it to work for you. I said, because it can be there one day and gone tomorrow. I said,
Man,
so why waste it? He
I
was like,
love
yeah.
it. That's great, dude. That's why there's no bad calls, right? Because you never know what you're going to stumble into. You went into this looking for a creative deal, and instead you found a private money lender that most people will have to search and search and search to find, right? So there's a lot of ways that I'm sure we can find some collaboration here. I mean, at the end of the day, if he's got all this equity, he can just refinance it out and turn around and start investing it as is, So lots of ways.
He was wanting to possibly not mess with the interest rates on the mortgage right now, as far as because he says he's got like a 5.12 and like a 4.75 on both the properties. And so he's wanting to figure out a way to be able to go in and pull the equity and not be able to mess with the mortgage rates.
He wants to sell maybe sub two. Wait, is he trying to keep maybe I just lost you a bit there. So
He wants to keep the properties, but he wants to be able to pull the equity
Is he
and
thinking
figure out a way.
HELOC?
yeah. So
Yeah, and that's what, me and Bain were talking about. We're trying to figure out ways to structure it and possibly do, is there a way to do like a second lien against the properties?
Yeah, so and I might just jump in here real quick. But there's two different things they could do. I've got someone right now, if their credit's good enough, they can qualify for 85% loan to value on a second mortgage. So if they do have, it's 100,000, let's just say, they can take out 85,000 on a second mortgage. And so that might be something, and then the other one's a HELOC.
yeah. You want to explain, you want to try to, this is just a good teaching point, a good building point. So with the second mortgage, first off, this is a connection you have, somebody that you're working with currently?
Yeah, and it's still in the new stages, so the product's not fully finished, but they are still taking applicants.
Nice. All right. That's cool, bro. She said 85%.
Yeah. And that's going to be crazy because once we start locking up these sub twos from agent outreach, we can just get them appraised and get our down payment back from the second position.
Right, bro. I'm like, holy cow, that's really cool, dude. So this is why I'm excited because we've already got all these folks in here getting active, getting the movement going. Obviously, you already know how to do the deals, and like we've been piecing it together. We're gonna be able to do a lot of movement together, guys. I texted Roman and was like, let's do 5 deals this week with these students. Like that's really where my head is at. I know that if you stick with the volume and do the outreaches, you will get there. It's not a matter of if, it's simply a matter of when. And as you get more repetition, we will get better. We will help you get better and better. So I know today has probably been pretty skinny time as far as getting too much volume of calls in for a lot of you guys. But what I want you to do is bring call recordings. All right. So that's one of the huge things is like, as we start to do more of these sessions moving forward, I want each of you to bring a call recording. We'll kind of pick people randomly. We'll do a review of what you did, and then we'll kind of role play around what you maybe could have done differently, straight with Roman, right? That he's already been able to accomplish this, right? I obviously have a lot of experience on the phones too, so we'll talk about the psychology of sales and all of that. But until you have some of those, it's hard for us to really dig too much deeper. But I know some of you guys weren't able to make it on the call the other day. So real quick, I just kind of want to reiterate how relatively simple this is. Like it's not easy per se, but it's also not rocket science, right? So just for those that weren't able to be here the other day, just 60-second rundown of your experience so far, Roman.
Yeah, so I'm 20 years old. I have 30 doors, and my experience so far, it's been a year, a little bit over a year, and in that time, I got my first deal from agent outreach, and I got help from a sub two student, learned everything from Pace Morby's group, finally joined sub two, and then went ahead and kept on killing it on agent outreach as well as wholesaler outreach, and just helping people get their first deals done, which slowly translated from wholesaling into me holding properties.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And key points here that I want to pull out from you again is you were how old when you did your first deal?
I was 18 on my first deal.
18 on the first deal. Guys, look, all y'all can do it too. That's the only reason why I asked that question, because if at 18 he had enough belief in himself to get after and take action, absolutely so can each one of you. So sometimes people have these hurdles of getting started, especially with cold outreach. The reason why I have that point reiterated again is that at 18, do you feel like you were an expert or master, or you like fully understood everything? I know you said you did like 2 or 3 days of practice before you jumped into your active market, right? So like, would you, how on a scale of where you are now being, let's say a 10, right? And where you were at when you started, where would you rate your skill set or your knowledge then?
I would say I was probably like a 2 or 3. I was really just repeating whatever Pace said. I didn't even know what a mortgage was. I was still trying to wrap my head around all these different technical terms that everyone in here already knows. Um,
Love it.
I was just able to mirror my way through it.
And you talked the other day about doing a practice thing. I just want to share with them again because this was cool. You talked about watching Pace's seller calls and listening to what the seller was going to say, and then pausing it right before Pace would talk, and then you would spit your part, and then you would play it and see how close you were to what he said. I thought that
Exactly.
was really cool. I mean, I just thought that that's an awesome little tactic right there. First off, you guys, great opportunities to learn that way. And soon you guys will have some videos like us all doing this, right? And so this is where you begin to learn with others as well. But great place to get started. So you were at a 2 or 3 out of 10. And guys, just to give you explanations on why I asked him these questions, he wasn't waiting around to have it all figured out. He wasn't hoping that he was going to know exactly what to say every second of the call, or that he was going to have every objection covered. What I love about youth is you have this unending belief in yourself. You're like, fuck it, I can do it, right? If it can be done, I can do it. And like that was me. It still is me, if I'm honest, all the time and everything that we do. I'm like, if it can happen, if somebody's doing it, we can do it too. And like that unending self-belief will push you through the lack of knowledge and the lack of whatever other things you might not have in the moment. Because honestly, God or the universe, whatever you want to call them, rewards action, rewards effort. You do and then you receive, right? You give and then you receive. You don't just get deals by being here. You got to go give, you got to go do the work, right? And so you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to know every solution. You have to have really one very simple scripting that I believe that can be used to get out of anything. And that's kind of maybe two pieces of this. I work with a team of investors. Boom. What did I just do? I instantly added credibility to myself. I work with a team of investors that do deals nationwide. I added so much credibility to myself right there. And I made it so that I can be the lowest on the totem pole. And I would still do this in my role in my exchange now. I would still act like, and I do, if you guys listen to me, I do this. I'm like, yo, like, I'm pretty new to this, but like, let me pull in somebody that has all the right answers for you. That's going to build trust in the long run. Like, and especially when you're talking to agents, they're going to be able to know if you're kind of full of shit and you don't know what you're talking about. So it's going to be better for you to be like, you know what, my job is just to really get the like the relationship started and see if you have any problems that we can help solve. Would love to connect you to my partners. Or if they hit you with a question you don't know, simple, like, you know what, I actually work with a team of investors. I'm still kind of pretty new. So instead of telling you the wrong answer, I want to go grab somebody that can like give you the exact answer to your question and go a little bit deeper with you. Does that sound fair? And I tell you guys, I taught my way out of everything with that question. Does that sound fair? Because if you frame it right with the right tonality, and this is some of the things you guys will get from me as we go through this a lot, is the tonality and the deliver of things. Does that sound fair? Makes your mind start to go in this direction, right? Versus if I said, does that sound fair? It has a different direction of thought, right? So by raising my voice and intonation, it makes their mind take steps in advance. So they're almost have to say, yes, that sounds fair. Like it's almost impossible when delivered properly of that flow to say, no, like what? That breaks the whole dynamic. Their mental vibration doesn't want to break what you've already built with them. So just does that sound fair? Yeah, yeah, no problem. Cool. Well, I'll tell you what time can I have my partner give you back a call? Are you available in 2 hours? Are you available tomorrow? Set an appointment and then go get somebody else, me, Bane, Roman, whoever else that needs to jump on and help you push it forward. And then you can either sit in on the call or listen to the recording. And now the next time you'll know how to overcome that objection. We'll bring that call recording here. We'll talk about it with everybody so everybody can learn as well. And boom, right? You got a deal done. I mean, Bane's already working on this with Devin. He said Devin mentioned he set an appointment for Wednesday. Matt set several appointments, or Matt has several appointments done differently on his own stuff. But who am I thinking of here? I just blanked. Cameron, damn, I got so many people in here. That's a good problem to have. Cameron's working on mad deals, so as you're going through this, just keep that in mind, guys. All right, so two or 3 out of 10 when you first got started, you practiced for a couple days, and you didn't even really have a script when you got started. You just were listening and then running. You didn't have like a structure, and I know this only because I said, "Yo, you sent me a script," and you said, "I'll send you some call recordings," right? So again, I love that. I love that it's not about being shiny and perfect and everything dialed in. It's like what works, do it, keep going. And that's really what I wanted to reiterate here. So, and since then, you said you got 30 doors and all of that. So now I want to open up for a second for those of you that are listening that may have some questions specifically for Roman about that journey or that process as we're getting started on direct to agent outreach. Anybody? I'll always be doing this where I got to talk all the time. Matt, let me pull you up here, Matt. You've been doing direct to agent outreach, but
What's up?
you haven't been doing as many sub two or seller finance deals. You tend to, or at least in the few that we've discussed, it's been a little bit more suited towards other routes or Morby method or something like that. So tell me about your current agent outreach strategy and what are you doing to get to where you
Sorry, I'm
put you on the
eating right
spot,
now.
you know? My bad.
Um, yeah, I'm just calling agents, and just like you said, I work with a team of investors, or like my partners and I basically like my partners and I are looking for basically exactly what I'm looking at that individual property. Like this is exactly what we're looking for in this area. Um, Happy to hop on a call, if I'm messaging them, if I'm not already calling them. Um, a lot of the properties that I am working on, we are doing seller finance with a higher down payment, but they have very specific terms.
Yeah.
It's with a hedge fund.
Got it.
I have that as well. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like sniping. I look at Zillow listings. I look for a property that makes sense. I type it into PropStream. I want to see how many linked properties they have, and then I come at it from like just an investor standpoint. Like, would they be willing to sell more properties? Figure out if there's any pain points. Check out their equity. All sorts of shit.
There we go. So, and the answer I wanted to get from you there was that. So, like, instead of doing more generalized agent outreach, right, that we're talking about here, like, hey, I'm just relationship building, Matt is calling specifically about individual properties, right? So, the data that we have right now in there is just real estate agent contact info. It's not tied to any one specific property. So, going onto platforms, are you going on like Zillow to find these ones that are listed, or how are you finding the listed properties?
Yeah, a lot of them are on Zillow. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm calling agents that are actively taking listings.
Exactly.
I did some cold outreach to the national list of realtors this morning, and I had a guy that said no thanks, and found out he's been retired for like 5 years.
Huh.
I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
The Zillow listings those are agents that are taking listings right now
Mhm.
and they want to sell their property, so they're going to respond to you.
Yes. And
Like,
that
hey, I'm just reaching out about 123 Main Street. Is it still available? Yes, it is. What? Like, all right, what can you tell me about it that I can't find online? Or like, why is this still on market? Generally, it's overpriced. It's like, okay, why hasn't this sold? This beautiful turnkey property hasn't sold. What's going on here?
Mm. Great question there, right? Because that leads them into like again another inevitable answer, right? Like we all know why it hasn't sold, and we need them to begin to acknowledge it so that it opens the door to some potential creative stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
and I actually am in the process as well, of I already had the realtor data, so we knew that we could get started, but I'm trying to gain access to NAR, which is a realtor platform that helps us go a little bit more deep on MLS access, which will also help me get a little bit better data for you guys to be calling as well. Um, Side note, Daniel, I don't know if you spoke or get a chance to tonight talk to Niles and or Ben, but they're both realtors, and I would love to see if we can find some way to collaborate. And then outside of that, the rest of you guys in other markets or whatever, when you do connect with an agent and you do build that relationship, they have access into it in a different way. So build that relationship out and get them to bring opportunities back to you. Or, hey, can you pull a list of all the expired listings in your market for me real quick? It's going to take them like a couple minutes, right? Like not hard. And often people will do it, especially once you've already done some kind of positive value exchange. They'll give you those kind of favors because you might bring them another deal, right? So, Roman, nowadays, are you doing specific outreaches about properties that are listed or recently expired, or?
Yeah, so the main one is listed after 30 days and just being super annoying about following up with them. Because most of the time they'll get hit up at that 60-day mark. If you can be the first one that tells them about it, they're going to be open-minded at least. And then you can keep on following up, and they'll be the ones that think that you're the most credible because you hit them up first. They actually listen throughout the whole thing, and you've just been the one that's been the most consistent. So they could trust you the best to make these mortgage payments.
Dude, all right. You just dropped a dime right there that I don't know that people acknowledge, right? I have not heard anybody say 30 days. Every single person says 60, 90, 120 days on market. They're looking at super old stuff. But dude, I don't know if you know how much game that is that you just dropped right there, because what that does is start the conversion cycle earlier in the inevitable journey, right? So like if it's overpriced and it made it through 30 days with no bites, and that's another key point. You can look and see how many, like go to Zillow and see how many times it was saved, right? Look at other little kind of indicators that show how much feedback or interest. Did they drop the price at that 30-day marker? Now a lot of people are going to be trying to hit them with low cash offers, right? And they're going to keep trying to say no for a while. And like he just said, if you're the first one to put in their ear a different solution and they keep getting smacked with these cash offers, and you're consistent with your follow-ups, which is part of the reason why the CRM is great, because we can automate so much of that shit, which Roman, I got to get connected with you and Zach so we can make that happen. But it'll automate a lot of the follow-ups, right? So we contact them at day number 31 or 2. It's been sitting for a month and haven't done anything. And I'm going to schedule another follow-up for day 45. I'm going to schedule another follow-up for day 60, day 75. Like I want maybe even every week as it gets further along, because I don't want somebody to sneak in between me, right? I don't want to wait 2 weeks and then somebody else come in with a creative offer in between and beat me to it. The farther they go out, the more their pain will increase, the more their problem grows. So you want to know that that problem will be growing. I really like, shout out to you, Ruben. That was a great game right there, right? Because it will be growing. So if they're not going to take the offer right now, they're not going to take the offer. But if you plant the seed, then the seed can be watered and grown over the course of time instead of waiting till 90 days, when now not only have they been hit with 50 cash offers that are trash, but they've also been hit with 20 creative offers that they have no idea which one's different or better than the other. And so they don't know which one to choose either. And they're still just trying to shop around because they just don't know, right? Now you've been watered down and now you're equivalent to all the other folks that are hitting them with all the same offers, right? So that's great. Write that shit down, guys. That was great stuff. Like, let's find things that have been listed just over 30 days and let's make those initial contacts and start to be front of mind. That is what the type of lead generation that I do is all about. Brand identity. We want to be front of mind. build that relationship, be there frequently, like annoyingly frequently, guys. Like when I was in the gym, I used to joke with people, like, and I would say this shit. And honestly, if I'm honest, I was younger then, so my give a fuck meter was a lot less. Now I've matured a bit, so I have to like think sometimes about before I say some shit. But like I was 22 years old, slanging gym memberships, personal training and shit. And like I would tell people, like, hey, I'll tell you what, I got you locked in my system now. I'm gonna keep calling you. Look, I'm gonna call you next week. If you don't answer, I'm gonna keep calling you until either you die or I do. I'm telling you, I'm gonna keep calling you. And people would just like, ha ha ha. And I would call them every single fucking week over and over and over and over. And I would sell gym memberships to people that I first met 10 months ago that I had called like 200 times. Like we were had personal friendships via the phone because how many times I done called these people. But eventually, when they were ready to buy the gym membership, they knew who they were going to see. Right. So the same thing can apply here. Like if you have that front of mind mentality where you've been so present and built enough um, presence in their mind, in the mind of the agent that you're talking to, or the seller, whatever, then when they then trigger, all right, I do want to sell, or all right, I am open to a creative offer, you want that to also trigger your face. Well, your voice, because they're probably not going to see your face. Like your voice. Oh, that Roman guy that I spoke to that talked about creative finance. Oh, now I'm open-minded to this. Let me talk to him. And just another bonus point to drop on this is that when you make that contact, have them physically write down your contact information. It doesn't matter that you can outreach via email. It doesn't matter that you can text them and call them. That's all great. If you say, I tell you what, do you have a pen? I want you to write down my information. That way I know that you have it, right? And they're going to say, oh, no, I'll just have it saved. No, I just want you to write it down so you don't forget. Because there is something to be said about the physical tie-in of writing something down and saying it at the same time. So you just say it to them, have them write down, hey, write down my name. My name is Garrett, Garrett. They're like, all right. And then James. And then, okay, you got that? Cool. And then it's 305-916-0498. And like, make them write it down because they're like writing that down in their brain. Right now, they might not remember it for very long, but the next time you have a higher likelihood of being remembered because most people don't have them write their name down. They're going to send you an email. They're going to send you a text message. They're going to try to push forward and buy your home and have never even told you what their name is. Think about that. How many wholesalers do you think make an offer to an agent or to a seller and have never told the other person on the other side of the phone what their name and phone number is? Think about that, guys. People do this shit. I know it. I see it all the time. So like, why should they want to work with you if you like they don't even know you? So when you're taking this approach as it is, where you know that it's going to kind of be a little bit of an early movement, have them write it down. Hey, write this down, put it in your desk. That way you can know I all the other guys, they're going to come for you. Like the longer it sits here, other people are going to call you and hit you with all kinds of crazy offers. But I just want you to write my information down because I want to make sure I get you the absolute best that we can. You see, like be dramatic with the shit. Like be real dramatic with it. And the more dramatic, the more memorable you become, right? So like for a comparison point, here's another thing I used to hit in the gym. You guys can figure out how you apply this to the real estate space. I used to call people that had been like, I spoke to, I got some positive result, and then they fell off for some reason. And I would call them and I'd be like, hey, John, just want to give you a call, man. I got this special going on this week, man. I really want to see you come down here. And like they would express that they were going to come or whatever, right? And I'm like, all right, look, now I'm going to be standing out front. Look, you'll know it's me. I'm going to have a red balloon. I'm going to stand out there. I got a red balloon. I'm going to be waiting for you, right? I promise you, I'm going to be waiting out front for you. Like, don't, like, you're coming. You told me you're coming. And now, like, I never went outside with a red balloon ever in my whole fucking life. But do you think those people remember that fucking clown that's talking about the red balloon coming to the gym? Like he dead ass said he was going to stand out there with a balloon. My boss, my mentor, he did stand out there with a balloon sometimes. He was a ridiculous motherfucker. He would just do it for the sake of the show, right? Because he just loved all the attention. But like the more committed you are to like being a little bit memorable, the better luck you have of building that relationship and keeping those leads coming, right? So awesome, dude. Love that. So reaching out rate at roughly the 30 days. And you're going direct to agent. So you're finding the agents listings that are at 30 days or longer and you're calling them.
Exactly. It's that easy.
That easy. That easy. So many, many platforms out here, guys, can help you filter by things that have been listed for 30 days or longer. So like, although we absolutely supply data and I'm working on trying to find a higher quality source always, there's plenty of opportunities for you to get whatever else. If you say, hey, I called this list and the agent's retired 5 years ago, I feel it, right? Like I said, we've had this list for a very long time. Some of them are not changed, right? Okay, well, then jump on a platform and filter for who it's been 30 days or longer and call them this way, just like Matt's already doing, right? So there's lots of different ways you can get to the data and the resources, and it doesn't have to be expensive, guys. It's another thing that a lot of people hold themselves back, like, I can't afford the data, I can't buy the list or whatever. This is free information. Realtors want you to call them. They want to sell the house. So you don't have to work too hard to find their info most of the time.
Yeah, when I first started, I was just doing Zillow. Zillow's just got all their info. You just call them. Sometimes you'll get the receptionist, but then you just call the other number on there and you'll be good.
All right, there's another one. Let's build on the receptionist, the gatekeeper, right? So the gatekeeper's fun. I had the experience in my sales journey where I had the most like engagement with a gatekeeper. I would actually walk into apartment buildings and talk to the desk girl, the gatekeeper, right? And try to get to not only the property manager, but the district manager. And we would sell parking services to the whole apartment complex. And it was hard because their job as the gatekeeper is to keep you the fuck out and not waste the other person's time. So like their whole job is to not, oh, my light just died on me, to not let you through. So of course it's going to be difficult, right? Like that's what they're told to do. Like, don't let them in here unless I tell you, or we had an appointment or whatever. Right. So what you got to do is get them on your side. And this was easier for me in person because I could be kind of like a flirt, for lack of a better way to put it. You know, like it was mostly girls, and honestly sometimes it was gay guys, and so I could be a pretty boy and I would just get whatever I wanted. Over the phone, you don't obviously have the same ability. So what you want to do is ask questions and like use verbiage. This light is not going to work with me, guys. This differently. So you got to use verbiage and like, for example, they want to feel important, right? And this is from somebody who is a high level leader. If you really want to get something done, it's going to be through somebody like Aaliyah, right? Somebody on my team who actually gets through the gate, because I don't let everybody get to me because I've got so much shit going on. So what does that mean? If you want something for me, you want to get Aaliyah on your side, because if Aaliyah comes to me and says, yo, this would need to happen, I'm going to say, okay, right? Because I've already given her a position of trust. So when you're talking to the gatekeeper, you want to kind of schmooze them a little bit, right? You want to be like, I know, look, I've been playing this game for a while. I know who really runs this show. Look, I know that you control this thing, right? Like fluff them up a little bit, make them feel more powerful, right? Like, I know you're probably the only person that they listen to, so I know I got to get you on my side, right? Like, and notice my tonality. What did I do there, right? I kind of came down with a little bit of a southern drawl, and Roman cracked a smile. It's all intentional. I know how to control my voice and change what impact is going to hit on the other side, right? So like, I know you're the boss, right? Now they're going to be like, you know what? I am kind of the boss. You know what? I do kind of, and they're going to play themselves up. So you say, you know what? Great. You know, my life is so much easier when I get to connect with you first. Cause sometimes like the agents or the brokers, like they're fast, right? And they're doing lots of stuff, but like I like to really build relationships with somebody like yourself who I know who really steers the shit behind them. Like I get that. Cool. You know what I'm saying? What do you think this gatekeeper thinks about you versus everybody else that comes in like, I'm an investor and I need to speak to them and I'm trying to go around you, right? Now you just kind of like kiss ass a little bit and like make them feel more important. And in turn, they're gonna be like, you know what? And they're gonna push you for it. I like that guy. He was a nice young man, right? And they're gonna pass you for it, right? You got to learn how to leverage that gatekeeper instead of looking at it as a bad thing. Because if you can get that person to be like, oh my God, this guy had great. This is the word I love the most when somebody gives me a compliment and says, they have great energy. He has great energy, right? So I don't have to know shit about real estate. I don't have to talk to the gatekeeper about real estate. None of that. I got to pass so much excitement off about what I got going on that they're like, you know what? He really must be onto something. You know what? Let me get you on their calendar, right? Like it's just all about that. So many people I feel like look at the gatekeeper as like a battle or a negative thing. And I think it can be used as a resource when you learn how to really play this connector game, right? How do you approach a gatekeeper right now, Roman? What's some of your strategies for that?
I mean, the biggest thing is really just acting. I love what you said about the gatekeeper and how they are the one that's trusted from like the boss, really. Uh, that was awesome. But as far as me, what I do is I just act like the gatekeeper's the seller.
Mhm.
And that's really all it is you just got to get past the gatekeeper by selling them on the fact that, you've got the right thing.
Mhm. Love that. So, okay, let's keep building this out. how are you? So you're just like running like straight pitch. You're assuming they understand a lot, I'm gonna say here. I
So
would.
when I say that, I mean most gatekeepers. I do not do agent outreach to gatekeepers because
Yeah.
what I figured out happens a lot of the time is the gatekeeper will they'll pass you along to the agent, but the agent just doesn't really make it a priority most of the time for some weird reason. Um, so I don't deal with the gatekeeper as much, especially when most of the time, Zillow's going to take you to the agent. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't, you could just hang it up and go to the agent.
He's like, look, this isn't right. Eh.
Yeah, exactly. I got to the point one time where I just wasn't even talking to the gatekeeper. As soon as they picked up, I was done.
He's like, this is too many steps. Next.
Right.
So, there's two approaches to that. I could see that, right? Because it is relatively easy to get direct to the agent with their contact info. So there's not so much friction that you couldn't do that. But also, I can't, in my personal experience, again, it's a little bit different in real estate, maybe, but if you do leverage that trusted ally of the boss, right? And then there's a second piece, right? If the gatekeeper brings a really good idea to the boss, they get praised. They're the one, thank you. Oh my God, we couldn't sell that property. I've been ignoring that kid for months. I'm so glad that you talked to him because I finally was able to get this property done. Thank you. Like, think about that, right? So maybe it's approached something like, look, I won't take up much of your time. I'm sure, you and your office are very busy. I see the agent, whatever their name is crushing it. Da, da, da. I just want to let you know, I'm sure sometimes they encounter properties that are like low equity or overpriced, unable to move. We actually help agents move those kind of properties as an investor. That's what we're looking to purchase. So if you're ever looking for a solution that can really help win you some brownie points with your agent, would love to connect with them and see if there's some ways that we could, get that connected. And I could probably even get you some kind of like connection fee as well. Some kind of little bonus.
The more you're talking about this, the more it sounds like the receptionist is the way to go because now, they're going to know every real estate agent that's messing up with a deal. They can't get it sold. They've got a pocket listing. That's you're the only person that they can think of because they don't ever talk to anyone else. So
Exactly.
really good
Everybody
idea.
else talks down to that gatekeeper and speaks like, I'm just trying to get past you. But now, especially because of the connector nature of the way that I do things, I would gladly give the front desk girl $500 for getting me on a deal with the agent. A deal gets done, I'll gladly pay you $500. Why? Because first off, that relationship with the agent is worth far more than $500. Now, we're going to keep getting deals and keep doing business with this agent because this girl, this person, whoever that is, not just a girl. I always say that. That's fucked. It's not always girls. Anybody, the gatekeeper, whoever that is, there's that could be in a way where I can, hey, let me give you, how about I give you a little bit of payday? Because also, like, they're not making as much money as everybody else is, also, by the way. So why don't I give you a little bit of a payday on this too? You help me out. Look, you can deliver it as your idea. I'll tell you exactly what to say. You can be the superstar. Like, I get it. Like, I love to do that for my partners too. Like, I get it. So here's how you know what I'm saying? And now I have this person who's a lead generation asset for me in their business versus, and generally, much less ego than the actual agent. The agent's like got a license and I'm a real estate agent and I don't believe in wholesaling. It's illegal, right? Like this, they say dumb shit like that, right? The gatekeeper, they're not going to be near as entrenched in their ego. Their job is to like play this role. So I really think that there's a lot of potential here. So it's very interesting here that you kind of skip past that because I see that as the connector and that's my extension into that office. And so like to carry this back into what I was saying earlier, when I would walk into an apartment complex, I never went in the first time and asked for the boss. The first time I went in there, right, I would always go with donuts of some sort, glazed Krispy Kreme donuts, right? Like just like a 12 little dozen, right? And I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna put my contact information on a sticky note right on top of the box, right? I'm gonna say, I just wanted to introduce myself to you. And I would run that same kind of play. I know you're the one that really runs this thing. I know they're probably running crazy and you determine who gets on their calendar. I just want to make an introduction, let you know what we do a little bit, and then I'm gonna leave. So I'm gonna go sell to this gatekeeper, what you talked about. I'm gonna sell why they should like me. I'm gonna give them a little bit of a sweet taste, right? So they're gonna be more open. Oh my God, you brought us donuts. Who says no to that? Nobody. No, you open the box and you got fresh, hot Krispy Kreme glazed donuts. Nobody's saying no to you, yo. I promise you. You go door knocking, by the way, guys, take some donuts. Somebody's gonna so I would go in with that. They would be open to talking to me at least. I would explain to them what we did, and then I would show exactly the same thing. Hey, if you help me get this, I can give you like a referral fee for helping me get on their calendar or like helping me present to them. And it got incredibly easy when I quit trying to go around the gatekeeper and started to leverage them as an asset. So I would definitely lean in on this for those of you that are going and calling through the data that we have where you may be more apt to hit some of those gatekeepers. Don't just hang up on them. See how you can build that relationship. Because you know what? There's also another thing. Maybe they're just doing this right now, but they really want to be an investor. And so like they're trying to look for wholesale deals or they're looking for other things outside of just whatever it is they're doing. You don't know anything about what this other person is doing in their life on the phone. And you also don't know when they're going to be like, hey, my dad wants to cash out the equity in his house and become a private money lender or whatever the fuck like Bain had happen earlier. Like you never know what that relationship is going to be. And there is almost nothing to lose. I can't think of anything there is to lose on having the exchange outside of a minuscule amount of time. So like talk to the gatekeeper, blow some smoke up their ass a little bit, let them know that they are important and we know that they're important. Because I'm gonna be honest with you guys, if I didn't have Aaliyah, half the shit that y'all need from me wouldn't happen because I'm on the phone all day and I'm doing all of this. So you go to get the gatekeeper and she actually gets way more shit done than you could get for just asking for me. Straight like that. So keep that in mind as you're doing these agent outreaches. Love that. Love that little diversion. This is why my experience, different than your experience, helps us find middle ground that might be a good route to try. Right. So I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Guys, somebody else talk. Any questions, comments, thoughts? Eddie, what about you, man? You've been doing some outreach, but you haven't been doing agent outreach yet, have you? If he's available to talk.
No, not really.
You're still in the dealership.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. All right. Well, I won't put you on the spot then. All right. Well, then how about Jared? Let's put Jared on.
Spain wants to talk.
Spain wants to talk.
I want to ask Roman, what are some things with DTA that like you found don't work? Like we talked about a lot of stuff to like do, but like can you talk about some things like that's definitely not how to do it?
I mean, I think the biggest thing is really bringing an ego into it, like making sure that the agent is the one that's being looked up to almost in this conversation. I think is very, very important, while still showing that you know more than them. You can get that combo down, you're golden. But as far as like things not to do, I feel like it's pretty simple. It's really just, be as kind as you can, try to figure out a solution. And
do you avoid certain terms? Like, do you avoid saying creative finance or do you avoid saying sub two?
I think it depends on the market. Because when I first started and we were attacking a couple different markets, or not when I first started, but later on, once I had done it for a minute, in some markets, if you mentioned creative finance, they would just instantly shut you down. If you mentioned sub two, though, they'd let you go, and it was vice versa.
Interesting.
So I think the best way to go around it is just mentioning that you might have a couple creative strategies, and then going into your pitch and then saying the word sub two maybe. But yeah, I just want to the other thing. So don't overcomplicate. A lot of the time you're trying to teach the agent sub two, but because you just learned sub two from Pace Morby's videos, you just got blown with a fire hose. And so you've got to figure out how you can make something seem as complicated as it is, make it seem as simple as possible, because the easier something is, the less like a scam it seems.
Spot on. That's good to know that there's kind of, I guess you got to test the waters before you can know kind of what market hits in what way. I know that when we use the word creative on like to a seller, they're instantly like, what's that? Right? Like they have no idea. Agents, I feel like a lot of agents will have more of an instant negative connotation because other older agents will say negative shit about it. And so they'll have maybe only heard about it one time from somebody that was speaking negatively versus a seller has probably never heard of it, more than likely. So like you're bringing in a new concept to them with a clean slate versus with an agent, there's a high likelihood somewhere somebody in their journey has said something negative about this. So that's why I was curious about, are you directly mentioning that, or are you just trying to get to properties and then find out the pain point on the property and then offer a solution specifically to that after that.
Right. And I think the big thing that goes along with all this is that's why we mentioned that cash offer first, right? That's so that they can now throw away cash offer and now you can mention something creative. But the reason I think a lot of agents are scared is because they just want the cash deal. They just want to be done with it the conventional route. They don't want to have to take extra steps. So once you show them that no matter what you do, this isn't going to make sense to buy it cash, we have to go to this other option. I think that kind of opens them up as well.
So do you feel friction from agents because of the way that their commission might change on these deals?
So that's something very, very important I haven't mentioned. So this is where you need to be mentioning. I love getting my agents overpaid. So like we just had one deal where the agent told us that the seller wanted 10K. And basically all we did was we told the agent, I will up your commission by 0.5% if we can get it to 5K to the seller. And they got it done because they just wanted, they just wanted their money and they'll do the negotiating for you. So I always mention that I love to get my agents paid extra. I just need to be at my number. Anything above that number, I feel more than happy to throw you a couple extra percentages.
How do you structure the way that an agent gets paid in a creative deal versus the way they would normally sell it cash on the market?
Usually I just cover the agent fee. So usually I'll say, I would love to give you 3.5% or even 4% as long as those numbers make sense. Usually the numbers don't make sense. There are a couple of times that we will. But yeah, we'll just always pay for the agent's fee. And you always have to mention, as long as I get your commissions paid, would you be interested in da 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 da?
And so, but they're still clearing less, I would imagine, than if they just sold it normally.
No, they're
No?
getting sometimes they're getting more because if they sold it normally, they would take less commission. I'm paying them 3% on the sale price of a sub 2 versus a cash. And so, they're usually going to come out maybe even better sometimes when they can sell it to us.
Interesting. That's on our next call. I know you got to slide a few minutes early today. On our next call, I want to break that down.
Yeah, I can stay the full time.
Oh,
My
really?
thing got canceled. Yeah.
So then let's break that down a little bit deeper, right? So because I know that there's if I'm having some questions, understand this, I know this others are as well. So if they sold on the market, they're going to make what, like 6%, something like that.
So
Right?
usually the agent's going to get 3%, like on the seller side.
Okay, 3%. Okay, so okay, and then they sell it on market at total purchase price. They make 3%. They sell it to you creatively. Now you're only coming in with a small seller, like cash down, so you're giving them 3% of the total price of the property. Still same as normal.
Exactly. And usually what happens though is the agent usually ends up walking away with a lot more money than the seller, which is just crazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Because I was going to say my next question there was that's a bit different than what Pace talks about, isn't it? I mean, because he talks about kind
It
of
is.
negotiating a flat set rate with somebody like, hey, you can't sell this, you're going to make zero. Sell it with me, you'll make this. So is that where did that come from for you? Is that
So
something
I think it was more so just figuring out that it's going to be a lot easier to set an appointment when an agent knows they're going to be making more money rather than less money. And so for me, it's how do I convince an agent to take 5K instead of 12K?
Yeah.
So I guess for me, it was just a lack of experience, and I just kept on doing it.
So can you give us maybe an example of a recent deal that you've done and how that broke down? Where
Yeah.
what the seller, what you paid to an agent?
So right now we've got one going on, and the seller is getting 7,500. The agent is getting 3.5% on a $450,000 house. Originally, the seller was at 10K down. And we just figured out that the PITI was way too high. We had already negotiated everything. And so the agent had said that she had another cash offer. So what we did was we went ahead and because the PITI was too high, we cut down our down payment to the seller and we went ahead and offered the agent a bump in commission. And This one's a bad example. Let me think of something else. We got one on Wallace. So they were originally at 12K.
Okay.
This is a $200,000 house. They're originally at 12K. The agent negotiated down for us to 5K, and we bumped their commission up by 0.5%. And so that saved us about 11K on our down payment. Or no, not 11, like 6.
So you bumped them up, they made a little bit more, the seller made a little bit less, and you managed to save a little bit there.
Exactly.
Interesting. So this is great, right? Because if you can make this happen for agents, then it's almost like why would they not want to help you, right? A lot of their objections, I believe, is the fact that a lot of people are saying, hey, like, I'll give you this flat set rate number, like whatever that might be, or like I'll give you the smaller piece, because the entries need to be really low. So I will say, I think that this is a bit inverse from what I see from a lot of people, because a lot of people don't feel very comfortable, I think, paying a wholesaler or an agent more than the seller ends up clearing for their property. I think that makes a lot of people like, it's hard for them to wrap their head around that. So I think there's some friction to people doing that, but it makes this deal work, and it makes this deal work, right? And I love the leverage point there of like letting them do the hard work. Like they've already got the relationship, they'll go negotiate it down. Now they're motivated to make a little bit more. So that's awesome. Definitely, as we get some opportunities that come in, we'll start to do some breakdowns and show what agents will be able to make and things like that, how we can manipulate some of that.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's really, really cool that you guys can start doing too is I even seller finance my agents' fees sometimes. So, if they want like we had one where the commission came out to be
Yo, wait, this is dope.
we did like $6,000, and we gave her 2K up front, and then the other 4K we just seller finance like the next couple of years.
Dude, I love Yo, bravo, Roman, because that is creative finance at its finest. What I love is that there is no limitation to how you can be like, yo, let's make this a deal, baby. Yo, you know what? You know what? Look, all right, so I got you at 6K. Let me put you 2K down, right? And then we're gonna break it down to payments over the next 2 years. I'm gonna get you can pay it every single month. And now you're just selling a different avenue, because this agent, if they're good at it, they're probably not living and dying by this one listing. So like, and now they're getting more recurring revenue that normally doesn't happen for an agent. Normally it's one and done. They got to go kill something else. So now you've just made, yo, that was awesome, bro. That's great. So did you just think of that? Like, hey, well, let me see if I can structure this with the agent, or did you see Pace or somebody else run that?
I don't know. I'm sure.
Get
I'm
the
sure
credit
I
for
saw
it, then,
something
Roman. Say it. It's yours. Y'all saw it here first.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really
14.
great about it, though, is now the agent every single month gets a reminder that you're around. And so she just went ahead and gave us another listing, like 8 months later, without even having to text her, because she's getting this constant reminder in her inbox of you just got paid.
And she's like, hey, I'm about to get paid again. When I get this, we're gonna do it again, baby.
She was asking for payments again.
That's fire as shit, dude. I don't know if you know what you're onto right there, but that's some shit right there. You better go ahead and make this Roman method video for real, bro, for real. Because honestly, I think it's so smart, dude. I mean, especially for more established agents, it's like comparable to me, right? Like I have been making all of my money in my life in big chunks. I go sell some shit, we get paid. I go sell some shit, we get paid. I've never really got recurring revenue in that way, where it's like every month I'm making money. It's one of the biggest difficulties of being in a sales-based position like a real estate agent is, because you can't plan the same way. So now it's like, all right, dude, I don't know if you know what you just dropped on me right here. I don't know if you know what I'm about to do with what you just dropped on me right here, because now it's a totally different structure, right? Now look, this is a creative deal. I want to get you paid creatively as well. What if I could get you, here's the keywords, monthly recurring revenue off of this deal? What if I could get you paid consistently every month? Could you help me get the right terms from the seller if I can get you paid on this deal every month for the next 2 years? Does that sound like something that you'd be interested in? And then sit back and shut up. That's it. They're going to be like, well, what do you mean get paid on this for the next 2 years? And then now Roman, you already get to do this. All of you listening, you get to leverage the same story. Okay, simple. It's actually really cool. We work with some agents and we'll give them a front side cash payout, like $2,000 or whatever it is. And then we actually pay this agent like whoever it is, Susie Q out in Kansas City, and I pay her every month. She gets a check every single month for helping this seller find a solution and helping us acquire this property. I mean, it sounds like a win-win. We're always looking for win-win solutions. So if you're open to that, I know sometimes it's, and again, it's all about how you're selling this, right? So I'm going to say to the agent immediately, I love this is just flowing for me right now. I would immediately say, I know how difficult it is always having to chase that next carrot, right? And so this sitting out for a long time, you're still having to run around and do it. I can help solve this problem for you and consistently get you paid with monthly recurring revenue off of this deal if you're willing to help me out, or if you can make this happen, or if you can, whatever the ask is. Yo, so much game right there. That is so cool. I'm so glad that you said that, because that will definitely be implemented, because especially once you find a unicorn agent that's already open to some kind of creative finance, it's like not a far jump. It's not a far jump at all. Like, yo, Mr. Agent, you're already going to go convince this guy to take this deal structure, but you're not going to take this deal structure? Come the fuck on, bro. What the hell? Right? So it's like almost like if you can go sell this to them, you got to be able to see why it makes sense for you too, right? And the agent's kind of like, well, yeah, right? I think that's awesome, dude. How many times have you done that?
I think we've done it. I think we've done it twice. I think that's it.
Look, you better make a video fast, slap that Roman method on that, get there. Because me and you are gonna have to record a solo meeting one time where we actually break that down. And this is kind of what the academy is all about. And I'm beginning to open it up a little bit even more, because comparable to like a brokerage for agents, I really feel like instead of me just trying to have 15, 20 students, whatever, if we open up the doors where we let a lot of people come in and do these things, and we're just teaching something like this Roman method, right? We're saying, hey, here's a way that you can overcome objections and still land a creative finance deal working direct to agent that nobody else is talking about. And now we can teach this, train this, you guys run this. How many more deals, or how much more confident do y'all feel about potentially, or not potentially, y'all gonna do these fucking deals? Like, I'm not gonna stop till y'all do these deals. So there's no potentially. How much more confident do we feel now at the end of another hour here with Roman about getting after it and finding creative ways to work with agents? It's not just about how do we, talk them into creative finance or teach them about sub two. There's all kinds of ways that we can piece these things together and make it a deal. And that's why we're deal makers. Some people say don't be deal makers, be deal finders. Nah, we make deals, right? We find all the pieces and keep working it, keep twiddling away until it's a good deal. So whereas a lot of wholesalers might call an agent and the agent says, nah, I'm not interested, I don't want to take that flat rate, that wholesaler's going to say, all right, talk to me if you change your mind, right? But now Roman's sitting here and like, you know what? Okay, well, what if I could still get you the same amount of money? This is a very Grant Cardone-esque style close, right? Because it's like it's a refusal to ever say no. Okay, all right, okay. So your objection is you need that amount of money. So let's just say I was able to get you that amount of money, then maybe we can make a deal. Does that sound fair? Then they're like, I mean, yeah, if you can get me paid, then hell yeah, we have a deal. What do you mean? So it's like, okay, well, so here's how I can get you paid that way. And now it's finance. This is the exchange. They are used to a negotiation. They're used to this. But I guarantee you there's not many people out here that are structuring it that way. So huge free game here. Y'all, so much stuff has been dropped here. Roman, I appreciate you for spending another hour with us, brother. I really do expect to do 5 deals minimum. Everybody that was in this training tonight, there is zero excuse why over the next, I really like, sometimes I wonder, like, am I too dramatic as G Money? But I would love to say, everybody in here, go do the damn thing and like get a deal this week. I really truly believe that, guys. Like, if you don't have unending belief in yourself, I want y'all to leave here knowing that I have unending belief in you. I have enough unending belief in what I'm building and what we are doing as a community and as a team here that I am hyper confident that you each will be able to go do it too. I'm putting my own reputation and money and ass on the line to make it all happen, right? Like, I've taken out on sponsors to like fund this thing for you guys, like, and build the whole system. If I didn't believe that we could go do this at the highest level, I wouldn't be here pushing in this way. If I wanted to just make some money, I could just go wholesale some fucking deals, guys. Like, I could just go make cash if that's all it was about for me. I'm putting myself here and building this thing and bringing in pieces like Roman that can teach you at a higher level so that we can all go do deals. So at this point, let's get this shit done, guys. Like, I'm just like, it's so clear to me how easy this can be. Like, I truly sometimes wish, and I'm gonna carve out some time for me to make some of these damn calls myself, right? Because first off, at this point, it just sounds fun to me. Like, I'm like, damn, this is like so many of the things I've done before. Like, this would be a fun exchange and it'd be good for you guys to learn. So as soon as I get back to my actual office in Florida, I will be doing some of these agent outreach calls with you guys. And I will probably be doing them earlier in the morning on some of Bain's daily dials, because morning time is my peak performance time. I get wrapped up in all the other stuff throughout the day. And then you never know, if you talk to somebody at 9 a.m., you might just have a deal signed by 5 p.m. if you play it right. So that's why I always go in the mornings. Any questions y'all got before we tie this thing up? Anybody got anything for Roman while we're here? No? Well, you guys will, what's funny is come up with 100 questions over the next 24 hours. They're like, oh, well, what did he say about this? Or do you have the recording so I can watch that? So no worries. Aaliyah will help get all the recording out to everybody. What I would like to say is the next time we do this, either later this week or next week, Roman, you and I will schedule it. Maybe we do some live agent calls. Maybe this is one of the ways into it. We just call some people here and together and kind of take turns. And or whenever you have some time and you say, hey, I want to jump into a session, who wants to make some calls together, whatever, like let us know. Like, we'll be glad to pull everybody together. Yeah, really appreciate everything here. Like I said, we 5 deals. I'm looking for 5 deals this week. So hopefully 5 people here go make this happen coming off of this training. Roman's available if we need to get him on to like help structure or whatever. Yeah, that's what he's here for, guys. So don't forget that it's not just me, it's not just training leaders. Reach out, build a relationship with Roman. As you can tell, he knows what he's talking about. Got some really solid game that you guys can learn, and you never know what other collaborations come. So make sure that you guys, reach out, connect, and show gratitude for Roman coming in and sharing all of this with us, guys. So that being said, your boy got to go eat something because it's been all damn day and I am starving. Roman, thanks again, man. I really appreciate you. I'm excited for what we're doing here. You and I got to schedule a time with Zach, and we're going to start to build out the system for you, basically, like we talked about. So automate as much of it as we can and everything. Let me know what else you need from me, any other resources you need from me or the community. We might even be able to line up this private money guy that Devin was talking about earlier. Maybe we put it into some deals you got running. I know you're always looking for the private money too. So lots of cool stuff coming, guys. Let's keep rocking it, stay active, whatever it is, just let us know. We're gonna keep pushing. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys. I will be live again tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern time. Bring any questions, comments, deals, anything like that. We'll break it down. I'm going to start to focus more and more on underwriting on my side in particular. I really love the numbers. That's my favorite part of business, is the number side of it. I've been working on some calculators, like a Morby method calculator and a pad split calculator, so that we can pretty quickly look at, do these deals make sense with these different exit strategies? And soon they'll all be integrated into the CRM actually as well. So Roman, that's probably another thing we do, is build out a little bit of a calculator based spreadsheet so that we can get deals structured, help people know if their numbers are good fast. So these are some of the things on the horizon for the Academy, guys. I appreciate y'all's time again and efforts in getting on the phones. Don't forget, the first person to actually get a signature is going to get not only a $500 bonus from me, but the team leaders each said that they're going to match it as well. So a smooth $1,000 in cash for the first person who gets this deal. So like, yo, what are you waiting for? I know Cam's not waiting. I know Devin's not waiting. So I know y'all getting after it. Let's see who gets it done. And can't wait to see that happen for y'all. So have a great night, guys. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Thank you.
See y'all.